The PlayStation Store is running its excellent indie game sale right now, and I want to go over some great deals, a part of it under $5. Wanted to get this video out especially because I said in the other video where we initially covered it that I wanted to do a more in-depth look on some of the better deals. Saw a comment that somebody said that I always promise this and never deliver, so I had to make sure that this was the sale, that I delivered on it, and hopefully we'll make this more of a consistent trend and we'll get you guys videos like this for the sales that are at least relatively good. And this one is really good, and I imagine it includes a lot of games that you guys don't have, so without further ado, let's get right into it. And I want to kick things off with Banner Saga 1, which is down to $4.99. This is an 80% discount. Banner Saga 2 is on sale for $5 as well, and I believe Banner Saga 3 is like $9. Don't quote me on that one. Often have said Banner Saga is one of those franchises that I'm very perplexed on why it hasn't gotten more popular. Now, obviously, it's gotten a little bit of attention. I mean, it ended up getting 3 games, so it did relatively well, but it has like a lot of elements of an RPG that I think would just cater towards a mainstream fan of role-playing games. Like, it has a great Viking setting, visual style is solid, story is pretty good, I think the tactical gameplay is solid as well, and it's been cheap so many times, so I just felt like the entry point has been perfect. If you've never checked it out, I would recommend it, and you do want to play these games in chronological order, so bear that in mind. There's like a trilogy if you want to buy that. They have that physically as well, but check it out. I think a lot of you guys will dig it. Next up, Guacamelee 2 is down to $4. This is another 80% off discount. Guacamelee 1 was pretty good, but Guacamelee 2 is even better. This is a Metroidvania title that doesn't take itself all too seriously. You play as Juan, this luchador, and you do these crazy wrestling moves and things like that. I mean, it's a pretty fun game that you don't have to take too seriously, and it's very, very colorful and vibrant. I mean, it's not like a technically extravagant game or anything like that, but I just thought the colors popped really well, and I feel like this is a game that 5, 7, 10 years even down the line, it's gonna age relatively well. And at just $4, I think this is a pretty good pickup. Guacamelee 1 is also on sale, I believe the Super Turbo Edition or something like that. It's got a fancy name, and it's like $3. I'd recommend checking that out too if you are interested. Alright, next up we have Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun, 90% off for $4.99. This is a terrific deal if you are into tactical strategy games. Works pretty well on the DualShock 4 controller from what I played of it on there. I played most of it on PC and it was great on there as well. I believe it's on sale on Steam as well if you want to pick it up on there. If you're a fan of that Japan Edo period as well, the setting is fantastic, the visuals pop even as, you know, a game that maybe at a surface level and when you just look at it, it doesn't look to be, you know, a graphically intensive game or anything like that, but I felt like there is a good level of detail in it as well. If you want, the game can get pretty challenging as well, so that is something to bear in mind. $5 for it, I think, is a pretty decent deal. Next up, This War of Mine, The Little Ones, 80% off for $4. This is done by 11-Bit Studios, and it's like a realistic survival game within war. You're not playing as this overpowered character, and if you're familiar with 11-Bit Studios, it seems like they just want to make some very emotionally dark games. If you played Frostpunk as well, Frostpunk is a game that I got even more into than This War of Mine. But yeah, this is pretty solid for $4. It also includes the DLC, so that's a nice inclusion for $4 again. I think it's a pretty good pickup, especially if you feel like you want to play a little bit of a darker game if society isn't, you know, bleak enough as it is these days. Get yourself on This War of Mine, get yourself on Frostpunk, and you can have a pretty good time with this. Next up, if you guys know me, you know that I'm not the biggest fan of puzzle games, but the Talos Principle was one that I had a pretty good time with on PC. Played it quite a bit back in like 2015, I think, when it came out, and it was received pretty solidly by the people that played it. It has a fantastic visual style. Like, the graphics in this game definitely pop out, and it's a pretty cool sci-fi setting as well. I thought the puzzles were designed to a point where even a dummy like me had a pretty good time with the game. Like, that's my issue with puzzles at times. Like, dude, I'm so dumb when it comes to puzzles at times that I'm just like, bro, I can't figure it out. But the Talos Principle, I felt like, did a pretty good job with making the puzzles, you know, not super straightforward where everything was very easy to figure out, but at the same time made it rewarding and captivating within the world that you're playing in. I would check it out, especially at a $5 price. But by the way, this is the digital deluxe edition, so yeah, take that for what you will. Next up, here's a game that holds a special place in my heart, and that is Oxenfree, and this is 90% off for 99 cents. I'm probably going to make a separate video on this entirely just because, yeah, it's ridiculous this game is 99 cents. This is a game that is reminiscent of some of the Telltale titles from a narrative standpoint, and I believe Night School Studio, the development studio that worked on this game, actually had people that worked on some of the Telltale titles. Very narrative driven, and it's a coming of age story where I felt like it was very relatable to the characters. Like, when this game came out, I feel like I was just about to turn 20 or something like that, so I was a couple of years out of high school, but I found the characters to be very, very relatable in terms of, yeah, you know, they're kind of questionable at times, but it was, again, very relatable to what you go through, and if you want to harken back to your youth, I think Oxenfree does a good job of that. Also integrates some supernatural elements, and things do go awry and all that, and I thought the art style was quite good. Music solid at 99 cents. I mean, you're paying $1 for this game, dude. I'm paying $5 for my Subway sandwich. You can pay $1 for Oxenfree. And I don't even think those Subway sandwiches are $5 anymore. I think they got rid of that promotion. Get the idea. You probably pay $1 for your coffee, so pay $1 for Oxenfree and thank me later. Next up, Outlast is 80% off for $3.99. I mean, if you want a survival horror game that's really good and you've been living under a rock and haven't played Outlast, probably should get on Outlast. I mean, it's a game that's pretty gruesome at times, so do keep that in mind, and very, very psychological in nature. Follow-up title in Outlast 2 was pretty good as well. Seems like a lot of people do prefer the first one to the second, maybe because the first one did have that newness factor to it. Whatever the case may be, for $4, Outlast is one of those games I think that should be in your library. Next up, we have Journey, which is 67% off for $4.94. I remember when Journey came out on the PlayStation 3, and it was just getting 10s across the board. And I played it on the PlayStation 3, thought it was really good, thought maybe the 10s were a little bit, you know, of a stretch, but yeah, Journey is a pretty cool game. You play it, and maybe at first you're a little bit lost in what Journey is, but as you play more and more into it, you get invested into it. Visuals are just stunning in this game, and again, this is a game that lives and dies by a lot of its presentation elements, and those elements, they do really, really well. $4.94, I think, is a pretty good deal for it. So check it out if you have yet to. I believe it was a Plus title a while back, so make sure you check your library if you do have it or not. Next up, we have Amnesia The Collection, 90% off for $2.99. This includes Amnesia The Dark Descent, one of the most iconic horror games of all time. Many consider it to be that horror game that really got them into the horror genre. I mean, you go back to The Dark Descent, people were uploading the videos, you know, playing that game on YouTube, one of the early YouTube games, and yeah, it was pretty good. A Machine for Pigs? Well, we don't talk about A Machine for Pigs as much, but The Dark Descent was quite good. And again, you get A Machine for Pigs, you can try it out as well, and it's $3 at the end of the day. Lastly, might as well round it out with another game done by Frictional, the developers of Amnesia, and that is Soma, $2.99. This is probably one of my favorite horror games of all time, maybe because it was that element of it really making you feel powerless, and Frictional does a pretty good job of doing that, but Soma, I don't know, it was just something about the underwater setting to it, and the real idea of anything can happen, and the psychological element is really strong in Soma as well. I think $3 for it is excellent. Visuals still hold up really well, even being, you know, I believe it's coming up on 6 years old. I think it came out late 2015. Yeah, September of 2015, so held up pretty well, and for $3, I think it's a home run. Great deal. And that's going to conclude this video. Again, a lot of great deals a part of this indie sale, and look, we only looked at games under the price of $5. There's like 20 pages of deals on the website itself, so there are a ton of deals available, but definitely let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. To that commenter that said they expected me not to do this video, I got you this time. Maybe next time you got me, but that's going to wrap up this one. Sound off with all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.